We are live.
Okay. So I'm Bridget Parker, and I had done a mini grant this past spring, summer, for blended learning. So I have been using more and more online resources, very interested in making helping my students be computer literate, as well as making my job smoother, my work smoother, because I, like probably most of you or many of you, teach, everything. So my mini grant was reading, writing, science and social study, integrated with science and social studies. Blendspace can also be used for math. So that's just, and I will give you the link to the mini grant as well. So we're going to use Blendspace. This is what the dashboard looks like. I'm going to get you and walk you through this, but just I'm actually going to use Blendspace, and this is to do our presentation, and this is kind of what I would do in my classroom. So this is my outline of what we're going to do today. First thing I'd like to do is find out who's in the class, what you're teaching, what your comfort level is with technology. I'm hearing some talking about that. What blended learning is, why we would use blended learning in adult ed. I'll demonstrate it. I'll demonstrate blended learning with Blendspace. And then you'll get a chance to actually sign into Blendspace and access some of the lessons. And before you leave, I'm going to have you start your own lesson. Start at least one lesson. It's so easy, you probably have 3 done. As we go along, just feel free to ask questions whenever. And then we do have evaluations, and I put them on there so we won't forget to do those, so everybody can, and I set an alarm so we can get them done and everybody leave on time. Okay, so blended learning is a combination of face-to-face and online. Some of you have probably done some distance learning where you take a course online. This is different because at least 30% and up to 79% of online work, face-to-face, online face-to-face. So the online work might even happen within the classroom or within the center. So I have some students that are doing blended learning at the center. So they're not in the classroom with me. I go and meet with them at before, and then I'm teaching another course, and they're online working. Just because that, and they have the ability to then continue working at home online. And I also use it in my regular classes. I use it during the class, and I have them work on it at home as well. Or I offer that. Whether they work on it at home or not, it's up to them. The online portion may include videos, online learning sites such as Khan Academy, blogging, Google Blogger is great, online classroom lessons, lots of different resources. And I'm going to give you a bunch of links to some of the resources that I use. So, so that's, I have to go hit a button. Okay, so why use blended learning? Before we start into that, can everybody see that to begin with? Okay. The second thing that I want to know is I want to go back to who everybody is in the classroom. So first of all, is everybody a teacher? Director? Everybody else?
I am a volunteer as a adult tutoring.
Okay, adult tutoring, right. So it's a teacher. That's, yeah. And I'm actually meeting with our adult learner services tutors pretty soon to help them with some of this too, because then they can access it and use it too. Does anybody use technology currently with their students? Yes. And what levels, what kinds of ways are you using technology?
We usually use it as a teaching tool, like Rachel's English for pronunciation practice, or YouTube to show video for people to react to.
Yes. Okay. Other ways?
I use it to extend the learning to home.
Okay.
I also teach ESL, and we have a lot of students that come in and sit down, okay, I'm here, fill me up.
Yeah.
No, you're not going to learn, you have to do it outside. They may work in a job that no one speaks English. When they go home, no one speaks English. So they all have at least a smartphone. I don't, but they do. So I'm using it to extend their classroom.
Okay. Great. Are you using it at all?
I teach technology classes,
you
so
do.
yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Yes, I use it, but not for, because I also volunteer in my son's school,
Mhm.
so that's like elementary, and we do use it there. We use Quizlet, like for
Oh,
practicing
yes. Yeah.
over and over and over. That's great.
Great.
I do a little of all that, but I also teach at the community college where I use Admentum.
Okay. All right. Yes.
So it is where it is required that they do some at home and within the classroom time.
Yes.
But I also teach, so I do half and half within the classroom time.
Okay.
What did you say? Sorry, Admentum?
Yeah.
So
this program.
Admentum is what they do Play-Doh.
Oh, okay.
So we all have access to Play-Doh, and if you don't know that, we should talk about that a little bit too. Carolyn?
We've used Play-Doh for many, many years, but sort of as a standalone.
Yeah. So my blended learning class that happens at the center is Play-Doh, because we have found, and actually this research tells that that a blended model is the best model for success with adults. And also through K through 12 research shows that it's more effective when it's blended. So we have, and we're seeing that as well. If we can get them to come in and spend some time in the center, they are more willing to persist and finish. So there is that. And these pieces of research came from a blended learning manual that you'll have access to that on the resource page too. So you can click on that. You'll have my whole presentation, so you can click on the links. You can go to the manual and check it. And then let's see. How about internet access? So everybody's pretty good with their internet access, and their students all have technology. Okay, if you have students that don't have internet access or don't have technology, do you know everyoneon.org? It's a federal program. Again, it's going to be in the, I think I have a link to it in here. But it's a federal program that started with K through 12, and it's President Obama's push to get everybody online to improve our technology education. There's a school district in Coachella Valley in California that as part of this, they didn't have the physical ability. They didn't have the lines running in to get access. So their students that live in remote areas, they equipped all their school buses with Wi-Fi, as Wi-Fi hotspots, and they park them at night in these different neighborhoods. So all their kids who have school gave them all tablets, or so problem solving. It's great.
Yeah, because some of our students said that they don't even have computers at home.
So that everyone on .org, you put in your zip code, and it brings you right to programs for your area that are subsidized or whatever from this program, and it has It has the internet access, the Wi-Fi that they'll set up for you. It has the discounted computers. So they have, everyone I've checked on, they have the Chromebooks on there too. They're not discounted, those are the regular price. So they have those. And then they also have, and this is kind of exciting when I first went on it, they have the places near you that you can get computer training. And so I had put in Exeter, and 5 spots popped up. The first 2 were Exeter Adult Ed.
Oh.
Right. Yeah, it was very exciting. So I, showing everybody there. No one knew that we were on there. But, there you are. Okay. And does anybody do a text survey with their students at the beginning? So that is really critical, and I'm going to show you some of the things on here that, and actually I can, I'll show you our text survey too, that we use one of them, I've got a couple of them. That is really important. It's important to know where your students are, what they have for access. I'm sure informally you kind of find some of that, but to start off with that, as well as their skill levels and their comfort levels. I mean, we've got classrooms that have people that are all ages, all backgrounds, and therefore varied tech abilities. And you cannot, I have found over the years, you cannot look at somebody and say, oh, they're not going to know technology. There are people that I work with that still think that they can do that. And I'm like, no, that's not true. You just can't. We have some young people that, for some reason, don't like technology, have never really connected with it.
I was surprised about that too.
Yes, and we have those, 70-year-old grandmoms who are Skyping with their kids, so it's, you can't make those assumptions. So a tech survey is really important because one of the things that I put my foot down about was not using technology. I refused to not use technology in my classrooms because, and it took a little while of kind of pounding out this issue that they are college and career ready skills. We are saying that we're preparing our students for college and career, to be college and career ready. These are really critical skills for them to have. They need to have a comfort level as well as the bare, minimum application, steps. They need to be aware of these different programs, how to use them. The more they're using the technology, the more they are comfortable with it and will look at other things. I am not a technology guru by any stretch of the imagination. I work hard at trying to be informed, and I try different things. But, so if I can do it, anybody can do it, is basically what my bottom line is on that. So, so I already talked about this a little bit, that there is the research behind why we would use blended learning in adult ed. So besides the research, absent students don't have to miss out. So we could do a online, live streaming of a class, or with Blendspace, if they get the lesson as well. They know that it's there, or I've had students that will show up in a class blog or a shared Google Doc that we're using for the class, and they'll be like, I'm here, and we're like, oh, great, so, so we're just typing to them, but, it's pretty, the first time that happened, I was like, wow, that's really cool. So, they can still be participating if it's a transportation issue that they can't get there. And if they're sick, they can always make it up, or whatever. They can always make it up because they know how to access the lessons online. It extends learning time for students. So in addition to class time, there's other resources on there. Certain things. We have Aztec software. which is an expensive program, but it has been so beneficial for our students. And so that keeps track of their time really well, just like Khan Academy keeps track of their time. I set up classes in Khan Academy. My students can go on. We get to count those hours. Our hours have greatly increased. I have students that'll spend, 5, 10, 15 hours on these programs working outside of class. Those are the ones that are finishing fast. But then they find what they like. And some of them like Khan, some of them like Aztec, and some of them like everything. There are those who don't like any of it. And I already talked about building college and career readiness skills. So then, what does blended learning in adult ed look like? So you're all doing some blended learning. You're all using different. So some of them, some of you might never go beyond using 1 or 2 tools, but I think we gradually tend, as we find that it really does enrich our classes, that we will continue to add more applications, more tools to our blended model, and eventually becomes like mine. I started out, using Khan and Aztec and videos, and I love NPR stuff. Does everybody know about Listen? Yeah, Listen Wise. Is that what it is? Listen Wise. I've got it on here in resources, but it's NPR. They took their stories, and I was talking about to my sister, who's also a teacher, about this NPR story that I was using for my class, and she was saying, "Oh, well, do you know about this?" And the stories are they're scaffolded. They take them, they make them resources on them, and they scaffold them so that they build. Anyway, it's on there. It's a cool tool. So I just keep finding new ways to bring things in. I was using just NPR by itself before. Now I've got this other tool. Eventually I started saying, I know that these learning management systems exist, these LMSs, and I think Edmodo was the first one I looked at and tried using it. For me, it felt clunky. And then I started, I kind of had left it, and then I went back and tried some others. I eventually came across Blendspace. I don't even remember now how I found it, but I love Blendspace because it's so easy. I've also used the Play-Doh, as I mentioned, and we all as adult educators in New Hampshire have access to Play-Doh. And in addition to having just setting up Play-Doh courses, I've done some hybrid courses. We had a student that was on her last high school credit, and she was unable to finish the class. She actually had to physically move to Maryland halfway through her last credit. So we set her up. I pulled some things out of Play-Doh, sat down with the science teacher, pulled some things out of Play-Doh to finish that course online. She had, throughout the years, she had been kind of spotty with attendance, but Play-Doh, she could get on there and she did, 1 and 2 in the morning. That was her biorhythm time, and she did it. She spent, she only needed half a credit, 45 hours. She was on there for over 80 hours. She would go back through the lessons, and you have to get mastery. But so we've done some different things with Play-Doh. There's high set prep on Play-Doh also. I pull some things out of that for extra practice for my students. So there's a lot of different options. The more online things you use, the more options you have, the better you can differentiate for your individual students. And they'll find, I'll throw a lot of different things on my Blendspace, which is our online classroom. They'll be able to find, like for social studies, there's these videos by this guy called Hip Hughes, who's on YouTube. So shout out to Hip Hughes. And he's doing, he teaches U.S. history and a lot of them are for like Regents reviews and things. But his videos are fast. He uses a lot of visual and movement types of things. And so, you know, I put his videos on there, and my students will know, yes, he's for me, no, he's not for me. But I've got options, so they can use that. Or they can go to, you know, the Gilder Lehrman site, and maybe that's a better fit for them. So it gives you more options to make it more differentiate, you know, fit with their learning styles and their needs and abilities. So these are, you know, experimenting. We've talked about a lot of these already. Looking at instructional videos, using the cell phones for Poll Everywhere, or I was in the morning session in here, and she was using another one that I found was even easier.
Socrates.
Socrative, yeah. I'd heard about that, and I hadn't had a chance to check it, so I was glad to see it in here. So again, Play-Doh and making your own online presence. That's so I mentioned Blogger, which is through Google. Really easy way to set up a class blog, and you can incorporate that into Blendspace, which I have. So I already mentioned, I guess, that I use it for additional practice, for reinforcement, for differentiation, for absent students. End of the year, I'll show you one of my most popular lessons, I think, was just an end of the year. I had people that were finishing up. So then I had this class where I've got, okay, they only need the social studies test. They only need the reading test. They only need the science test. I'm like, everybody needs, and then this person needs all kinds of things. So I'm like, okay, I can't be in every place and at one time, but they all were already using Blendspace, so I put some lessons up on there, and it was, you know, so they could go on there and supplement with that. And they loved it, so. And so therefore that kind of connects to, it makes my class organization. At times you end up with people in different places in the same class with different needs, and so they have something they can go to work on while I'm working with others. Yes?
When you said about how they could go on like Khan Academy or Aztec Software, you could look at their hours and use it towards their attendance.
Yes.
If they've gone Blendscape, is there a way to tell that
So-
they've gone on and used your resources?
So right now, they're tracking, they had tracking, and that was keeping track of the hours. It was kind of clunky. So they took it down rather than leaving it up. I wish they had just left it up. They took it down to fix it, and it hasn't gone back up yet. But what they do have is that you can at least right now, I'll show you, but they can, you know, click on that they liked the lesson, didn't like the lesson, or that, and they can make comments. So I ask them all to do that so I know when they're on. Yeah. So, I had just before this conference, I had emailed them and asked them, I said, you know, I'm doing this presentation, can you tell me when it's going to be on? And they couldn't give me a time. What happened was they took it down, they started doing it, and then people wanted an app for it, so it would be better to use on phones and tablets, and so they went with that, and so they brought, you know, the app is out now. That happened, I think, the end of the summer, August, yeah, so it's you know, app friendly. So things to consider before you launch into Blendspace. And I would say most of us probably start small. Like I said, my process was gradual. The other part is that survey. You have to think about what skills your students need, and what will they need in order to use the technology that you're doing with them. I always start by using it in class first. I model it, like I'm doing with you. Then I'll have them get on, and in class they set up their account, so I know they're on. I can help them if they need help. And then they can reuse it in class so they see it being used, they're familiar with it. I make sure at the beginning that they've all gotten on at home to make sure that they can do that. So, you know, it's that gradually getting an independent piece. So the other thing is the devices and internet, and that everyoneon.org is the way to make sure that they've got that. This is kind of small. It's actually the biggest I can make it. Oh, no, 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 I can do one thing. Bigger. So this is from that Essential Ed blended learning guide is what it's called, and that you have the link for. You can just download it. But this had that I said, okay, I'm not going to try to recreate that. I'll just use theirs. So I gave them credit. So it's just the needed skills, and it just goes through that. And those are the things that you want to make sure you're addressing in your questionnaire. And I think on the Adult Ed website, New Hampshire Adult Ed website, I think we have one because we did a, Tiffany, were you at that one we did in June about blended learning?
Yes.
And so didn't Sarah put one, we had talked about
She
something
did post
else.
something.
Yeah,
I'm
so I
not
think
sure where
there's,
exactly it ended up.
yeah, there's a couple different ones, and if you don't find them, I have other ones that you can always ask me for. Okay, so this is the link to the community grant that's on the New Hampshire Adult Ed. I didn't bit.ly this one, but this is the, okay, that's the whole learning, but it goes right to the diagram. But if you stop right, no, it's the whole thing. So you can get that. Okay, so this is what we're going to do now. So if everybody can go to this website and sign up for free. That's the other thing that I liked about Blendspace. It was free. You can get some nice ones that you have to pay for, but everything I do is free because I can't afford it. Neither can our son.
So for me, because I have my iPad, it's asking me to get the app.
Okay,
So I'm
so
gonna do that.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Bridget, do I want to receive news? And updates? Do you get them?
You know, I'm pretty sure I have that clicked, and I rarely get stuff from them. So
Okay.
I got them.
Just wondering if they were
It's up-
informative or just.
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
think I mean, I got the update when they were to have the app, but then I could also see it on the website, so I don't know, it's up to you. You can always unsubscribe if
Yeah.
if it seems like it's overwhelming, but I haven't noticed anything overwhelming my inbox on that.
I always find that.
No, I was just saying it's funny when my username is taken, you know, like,
Oh,
you know, putting my name, oh,
Yeah.
there's another?
Yeah.
No,
Well,
I've
Bridget
had
Parker,
every
it's
single
surprising
time
how many
something
Bridget
happens
Parkers there are.
Oh,
What? Why is that? Like, I kept my middle name, I thought a long time about hyphenating just because Bridget Parker, just like alliteration was a little overwhelming for me, but. Is everybody on the website? I'm going to exit this for a second. So your dashboard will have this join class button. So you can push that. You're going to enter that code that I had up there before, YEZM. And then just join. And so that's what my students would do. They would just have a code. And that's all they have to do is put the code in. So it's Y, right here, YEZM.
I'm not seeing where to
Well, right here,
access that.
join class, this blue button. So click on this right here, if you're in something else.
I don't have.
Oh, are you, did you not go, are you in TES but not Blendspace? So TES.com/lessons you have to have. Because Blendspace is something else, or TES is something else. Okay. And then, if you're not on the dashboard, if you click on this, it'll put you on the dashboard, and then join class, YEZM.
You do teach everything.
Yes, I do. Absolutely everything. So these are the lessons. So I did put the presentation up here. So what the ones that we just went through are right there.
Oh, cool.
With links in them. It was, I have to say, that's one of my more boring lessons actually, because there's no pictures or anything. But, so I threw up a couple of, oh no, I threw up one math one. I have another math one I can give you the basic skills. For science, I have photosynthesis and cellular respiration. Oh, my first science lesson over here was scientific method and experimental design. And then photosynthesis and respiration, ecosystems and nutrients, chemistry. I have a reading skills, and that covers author's purpose and unknown words. So you can, it gives you a variety of things that you can cover. And my U.S. history and my world history, World War I, you can see there's lots of different. It is. Okay, I'm going to do a lesson right now, now that you're all in there,
I'm not
and
in
show
there, I
you.
don't think.
And yeah, I didn't know what you got.
Now, it was an extra step by.
Okay, so. Let's go to the.
Come to the
Just gonna use
next
British
year.
lessons.
I teach high school classes, but that's
Oh, you know what, because you went in maybe as a
I
teacher.
teach.
It doesn't-
Yes, and he is a teacher, she doesn't know the student.
Well,
So
I
they're,
created a position.
okay, so
Yep.
let's do,
but then
let's
I
just
teach
put in
another
join
person,
class
that's
and
not
see
then
what-
90. That used to be doing that,
Or
and then
let's just go back.
and that's why you said mental. And I have kids from 16 to 16. Yes. Because when I come to counselor classes, there's the to be, yeah. So I have a great manager. She used to teach in Manchester, but she well, I wasn't always, but I'm doing it more and more. Because I was doing my mental for Pearson. But then since the college dropped it and now Ridgebury, I changed that mental thing. New York classes. I don't know this was this one, there's so much shorts on the line. So that's why I was downstairs at lunchtime talking to this person. I said, I kind of like it. I'm just kind of doing this. which is
So you
maybe
would
not good for
actually
them.
put in the
Because
but you should be able to, because
they're so
or unless you
Right.
get to.
That's
Well,
what
the
I'm
code you
saying.
have is YEZM. So
Well, I
maybe
know,
on join class, you can
It's
just put
just
it
me
in
and
there.
That's what I'm
During school.
See, I'm the only one put in that program.
Yeah, well, she's, I know nothing.
Well, in my director, since I'm now, there's an 11.
Very.
I can, okay, okay. That's just so you don't use it.
Right.
You got to be open to that.
So if you log in, you should be able to get there now. Did you get it, get there?
I got it, yeah.
Oh, good. So did you have to go out and go back in and do login?
I had to do it from the browser, not from the app, and then
That's what-
I was
yeah.
able to join with the class code. For some reason, the app will let you search lessons, but it won't let you join the class, which is weird.
So that's
Okay,
another-
so,
Yes, it is.
so I don't have a tablet or, well, actually my husband has one, but I don't have a tablet and I unfortunately still have a flip phone.
Come
It's
on.
a little embarrassing, but you know.
You're your computer guru.
I'm-
Our computer person's same way though. She says she doesn't want to be so plugged in that she teaches all the computer stuff at the center, but she has a flip phone.
Mine is strictly economic.
Oh.
I'm an adult educator. It's frustrating because I have 5 sisters who send me things all the time from their smartphones and I will send them back blank. stupid
Dummy
phone.
here.
Yeah. You know, because everything they send me is blank. Oh, and this is going to be on YouTube.
Yep.
All right, so let me, okay. I'm going to do a lesson up here. I'm just going to put one up. Anybody have a lesson they want me to do something on? Just to show you how easy it is.
Computer literacy.
Computer literacy.
You mean
that's on the list?
Oh,
Really?
No,
Something with math,
something-
that's
something
fine.
with math.
Math, okay. Oh, so what do you want, statistics?
This is the-
Okay, so this first part that I'm putting in, I'm going to do this now, and I'm just going to search their resources that other people have already put up. And when you do a lesson, you can say, I want it to be private, or I want it to be out there for everybody to use. So we have all of these things. So let's do the statistical murder investigation, and we're gonna. Let's open it first. Preview. So of course we're always going to preview and check and make sure, right? So we're going to go through these clues to eliminate suspects. Okay.
Oh, it's a clue.
Yeah. So I'm going to download that. I'm going to go back to my Blendspace. I'm actually going to put this right over here. Okay. And then I've got it, I can look at it here, but then let's look at it in here and see what it is. File not found. Okay, so I'm going to have to upload from what I just downloaded.
Down below.
Downloaded. So let me get rid of this.
Down low.
Down low.
Yeah, but I already downloaded it, I just need to take it off there. So, let's just make that so now I'm going to look on my computer to upload it. These are all things that I've done for mine. So it saves the things that you've already done on there. So if you want to use them in another lesson, you can copy it or do it. So I'm going to work on this computer. Choose file. Choose downloads. Investigation. Now it's going to be down here for me to choose. come in on the bottom. So now that should be on there. So there it is. That's what it'll look like for my students. Then maybe I want to go to YouTube. Get some statistics, probability explained by Khan Academy. What else do we want in there? Average.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Median mode. You know, obviously I've been looking at them before. You can put, so what I frequently do on my lessons is I'll make this first tile. After I do them, I save this first tile, and you can move these around like really easily. And maybe I want to do that after I do all this other stuff. I can go in here and I can put what this lesson's going to be about, directions. Okay, you know, do these tiles, you know, or so I'll show you some of the ones.
So it's like a whole unit.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what they are. You can make them as short or as long as you want. You can keep adding these rows. If you go into my, so I go back to my, you click on this to go back to your dashboard. If I go into, let's look at one.
Can they submit something directly from that?
Yes, they can. Yeah. So, and you can put a quiz on there, and it'll tell you, like on World War I, I have a quiz. So here's my directions for them. Lots of boxes for this lesson. So, you know, take the pre-test, there are questions to go through. You do all these different things. This is the, you know, all these different ones that you can go into. So here's the quiz, and then it'll come up, and I'll get the results from it.
Did you make that quiz? Or did you take that from somewhere else?
I took some of it I made my own. So there's a place on here to do quizzes. So, but yeah, so you've got all kinds of stuff. So here's the questions to guide your note taking for this unit.
Does it save automatically, like Google does, like Google Docs and stuff?
I think so. I'm trying to
Because
think.
it seems so similar.
Yes, yes. It's very much, you know, anything for your drive. It's very Google friendly. Dropbox, if you have things on Dropbox that you want to use that you want to put in links for web pages. Yeah, so it's, I mean, it's got all these Flickr. There was another one that I have no idea what it was.
Yeah.
I've never heard of it. That's not. So you can check, you can go by your Common Core standards, everything's standards, and you can look and see what they are. You can add standards in. There are a lot of lessons on here, and it's become better. The lessons have become better because it was started in England. It's a British-based company, but there's a lot more American, and there is a difference between the way we teach and the way they teach. But so initially, when I first started with Blendspace, a lot of the lessons that I was trying to pull up, they were, you know, the language was different, the spelling, you know, it's bad enough we're trying to get them to spell in American English, you know, and that was in Britain. So I do have some lessons that are, and the World War stuff is, you know, that's a different perspective too. So
I love all the illustrations, how visual it is.
Yeah.
Right?
You know,
Yeah.
for the English language.
right. So you can do, you know, and speaking of illustrations, so you can go into Google Images, and it's very easy to add things there. You can pull things up from your computer. You know, there's just so much that you can do with this. So, go back to this. So we were setting up this class. So, no, not that one. This one. So now what I'm doing is, as I find things that I'm like, oh, that would be great, now I just put them right on in a lesson that I haven't shared with anybody that I'm starting to set up. I also have on here, this was something for me, but I can share it if you want. Oh, so this is from this summer, the vector physics, it was about the tree falling. It was the stadioscope, and here's the video that they used in the Kim and Carrie this summer. StoryCorps, so I'll just share this with you. So, adult ed center.
Do you
That's
ever
it. That's
have
all.
to be
That's what
concerned?
you do, yeah.
That's all you do to share it with one of your classes that's set up.
That's great.
Do you ever have to be concerned about sharing, like if you create, I suppose everything's not gonna let you share something that, like if YouTube doesn't want you to copy and paste it.
Right,
it's
you
not
take,
gonna
yeah,
let
you put the, YouTube, you're gonna put the link right at the
Right.
YouTube link in there. If you put something else, it's not going to let you.
Right.
I try to be good about making sure that I'm giving credit for all of my sources. I promote that with my students. I try to follow through on that. But yeah, so this is, for me, I have all kinds of stuff that I've thrown up there as I see it. You know, that I'll say, oh, I know I saved that. Now I know where to look to see where I saved it. You can, after you get a lesson going, you can click on put a subject in for it. So it's then linked to a subject. Again, you can put your standards in there when they want to play it. So what I'll do during a class is I'll go in and I'll hit play. That's what I did today. So I'll pick this is one that was one of theirs lessons. So I can just hit play and then go through it, and it starts going through all this stuff. So, yeah, and it has, this is a one that's geared for teachers to talk about how to teach tolerance. So, yeah, so, but it has some good sources to then pull in and use for yourself.
Oh yeah, share that one.
Share this one.
Yeah. There's still time.
I know.
Sorry.
That's why we're like, oh yeah, share that one.
There's so many things on here too. I mean, there's really just tons of stuff. So,
And is it private? I mean,
so it is private unless I say it's okay to make it public. I haven't done that with any of mine. They asked you, at least they asked me this summer at some point, you know, one of those emails, you know, do you want to, you know, be a Blendspace? You might even get paid for it. I don't know. I should check that out, I guess. Right. That's right. Yes. Well, see, I'm just going to be an Uber or Lyft driver. Then I have to have one of those, and they'll pay for it. Of course, I have to learn how to use it. Well, I know how that works. Okay.
and Bridget, in some cases you have to go out to a link. Like I noticed on some of the pages you have to click.
Right. So
How does that work? Why?
So that everything's not stored on their site, it links it to it. I can download something and put it in there so they don't go to it, but it'll open it in another tab, and sometimes that's good. So let me go through this one. So this one is my class notes.
Yeah.
Actually going through this right now, one of my classes, two of my classes, so we're right about here. And so they have access to that, as well as the next things that will come up. And so Gilda Lerman, I have to change the link on this for some reason, it didn't work. But here they can do this video right in here. This is that guy Hit Hughes, that was U.S. history in 10 minutes.
Oh, that's
So, yes. And he is, the speakers don't work, but he's a little silly, but the students like him. Let's see if I can go faster to get you.
So when you shared things, where did they go?
So I shared them onto the class. So let me get back to the
I
dashboard.
think you have to go. Like I had to go out and come back in. And they were
So they're
or
in
maybe
the class,
refresh
or
the
refresh,
page.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so now I go on this adult ed website. You can see all these ones that I just
Yeah.
shared on there. Use the links. This one is the last one I shared.
Is that the tolerance one?
What's that?
What happened to the tolerance one?
Tolerance.
It was
Oh,
something,
teach, yeah, I did just put that on. Let me go back and.
so this one, like, I don't see it.
Okay, let me go back and do it.
But that's where it would go on your, on
Yeah.
that, under that particular.
So,
Under the lesson.
Because
so that was actually one of their featured lessons. So it's right there too. But, so this is the one that they liked a lot.
I was gonna say, right, even something else to share.
Okay,
because
so
I
I'm just
don't
gonna
look
go
at the
here,
original.
and I'm gonna click on adult ed, and then that's good.
Save it.
And then I'll go to adult ed, and just sort of where it is.
I don't have it, so let's try to refresh, see if it shows up.
So,
Oh,
yeah,
now it did.
cool. Okay.
All right, so you just hit refresh, because, right, usually you just have to do refresh.
So let me go to the, I'm not getting that on here. Back to the- So this is the teaching tolerance
Yeah.
one, so you have it right on the front there. So these are ones that teachers have said, oh yes, I can share. You can see a lot of views on them, so a lot of people are doing them. And so in their lessons, I mean, the ones that they have, there's tons of lessons in this lesson library. It's crazy. So, you know,
So those are.
So where do we go for that?
that's lesson library on the top here, right here.
And they're just already in there.
Yeah, yeah. So this is, and so I have actually had a couple of my students that were like, oh, new lesson, because they don't like that it says you don't have any new lessons yet, or you don't have any lessons yet. So that's ones that you've created or put together. So then they started making lessons for themselves, you know, finding stuff and putting them in one place. So I do go through how to do that, because some of them like to do that. So it's kind of cool. So, and I figure that's going to be and looking at all kinds of things in there, which is what that end of the school year lesson was. It was just a bunch of things that, you know, you'd like to talk about in class that you don't always have time. I can't remember what's on it now, but go back
Because you didn't have time.
here. Yeah.
What a great
It was-
summative assessment for students to create their own.
Right.
unit.
Yes, yes, and so, yes, that is definitely a way, and I was thinking about that because in my, and I put my link to my blog in here, to our class blog, so then it'll say, okay, now, you know, you've done this article, now go in and blog, you know, your reaction, or I'll give them specific things. But, yeah, so this was, I thought, good things like why research. Okay, so now you're not gonna be in school anymore, why would you still wanna do that? And then, just a bunch of interesting things, from PBS, fossilized bubbles, spelling one, coding. I always try to get them to learn how to code. We do 1 hour of code at least once a semester. So I put 3 on there about coding. Because that's where the best jobs are now. They're all related to that. So has everybody started to set up a lesson? If you haven't started to set up a lesson,
Can I just,
start a
like, when
lesson.
I went to the library, it just went, why does it just show me math? They know Big Brother's watching me, they know.
I think maybe you had clicked on math under subject.
No, I just went to the lesson library and this is how it popped up.
All right, well,
And
go
I just went like this. This would, Big Brother.
Yeah, I don't know. That's, I've not had that happen before.
Yeah, because when you showed your library, it had things. Mine
just to go
Which
back.
one, to go back?
Just on the, no, on the TES teach. And then click on the lesson outlines. I don't know. They might think you want math.
I do, but
So you can put in something else.
right, but I'm
But,
just like,
yeah.
I like the visual of seeing it on, go, oh yeah, that looks good. Put
Oh,
that.
they're there. Oh, well, there's.
Yeah, but that's just math.
Oh, no, math, science. Great, social studies.
How'd you get there?
Well, I'm just going down.
Scroll down.
Scroll.
Now I'm gonna click on lessons library again and see what comes up for me. Oh, so math, I had that.
You start
Oh,
with
I
this,
just scrolled down.
she's just got a bigger screen.
Yes.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
I'm just
so-
like,
I just like the Big Brother one.
Here's your computer one.
well, that's why I was laughing more. I need like the doll's eyeball.
Measuring, measuring.
Oops. Oh, I had to have been in
Um, I'm just gonna see if are people getting lessons set up or just looking at lessons still?
Yeah.
Man.
Trying to decide.
Yeah, well, you know what, it's also very easy to undo something,
Oh,
so,
really?
yes, so, and you don't, nothing is public until you're ready to, so, you know, just like I was saying, you know, I had that statistics one that I just thrown something up there, but let me, I don't know. Chemistry, this was, I think, just when I started and then I used another one. So you can always, you can just delete them, you can edit. So this was one that was, that's my class notes. It's just the beginning of them, I haven't finished all of them. There's some more that I used in class. Then I put together the lesson. So I can also move things around really easily. I redid my lesson just before everybody came in, so.
Do you need that little plus sign?
Yeah, I don't know why it's not coming up though. I think it's the computer, but I don't think it's this. Oh, wait a minute, right here, error scene. Put that back there. But it's, you know, the more you want, you can just add, if you want more, it gives you 6 to begin with.
Yeah, I was just
You
wondering.
just add more rows. Oh, yeah.
Is it one
I
of
have
those?
no idea what's on the premium, I don't remember, but, I think there is one.
So it's just marketing.
This tips is just a few videos about people, you know, how they use them, so you can do that. Ideas to motivate students, you know, there's always something up here that's different, so. How to, well, I have to say, it's pretty easy to use, so.
So now, if we wanted to take what we have that you gave us
Yep, so then,
and make up our own
yep,
and just add to and so forth, we
So-
just have to go to where?
so you're gonna start a new lesson,
Mhm.
okay, and I'm gonna call it, sample. And then I'm gonna go to, so if it's things that I had done, I could go to find resources and like in the downloads, the things that I'd already uploaded are already there. So I could take them from there, but let's pretend I got it from somebody else. So I'm gonna go in here and I'm going to, I can copy this, which I can put you the options. It's right here. Let's insert. That's so I can put another block in there instead of having to move
Yeah.
them around.
Yeah.
They didn't used to have that. Whoops. Oh, I put the other block in there.
Yeah.
Now that's gonna stay there. You can put a block in, but it's hard to get one out. You can delete one,
Yeah.
but not unless there's something on that, and then it just goes back to this empty one. So I would have to move everything back over this way to get it back in line. But copying, right, I got it. I can copy them here. Now, this is tracking. Oh, I didn't show you that. Track, delete, copy is also.
Mhm.
So I want to copy that, and I'm going to go to my sample lesson.
Partway down, you see the circle and sample. Yeah.
And then I'm going to, okay, so I thought that was my, I wanted it something. So I'm going to paste it. I've done this before, but now I'm trying to remember. Oh, all right, here. Let's share it with the lesson. Let me try to keep all of them. All right, you might have to go to the tips. Now, I've done this before because that's how I took the chemistry and made another chemistry from it. So I copied it.
Oh, yes, that's partial.
Right. So that was, when I started that, I had, I was experimenting and trying to see what to do. So I copied it. Oh, wait a minute. Let me just look. Do I have 2 of those now?
Yeah, it just made a duplicate of blended learning and called it copy blended learning.
Yeah, okay, there it is. So then I could rename that. So you can take the lessons that I have, I mean, you've got them, and and then if you wanted to put them in a separate class, you can just share that individual lesson. You don't even have to copy it.
Okay,
Yeah.
but so I have this, but now
Yeah.
I want to have a class, make my own class, and
Yeah.
have them do it how you had us start.
Okay. So then you can use the same guidelines that I did, but you're gonna, right here, you're gonna do whatever you want them to do on here.
Right, we
And
create a
right now,
lesson.
yep, we're gonna create a lesson, we're gonna drop in resources, right? So like we just did. with
But
the-
do I go to create class, name a class, and then have them join the class?
So you're gonna have them sign up and get an account first.
Yeah.
They join a class in order to share lessons that you've already given, that you have in that class. So I've got these classes. So let's look at this class. So this class has all these lessons
Right.
in it. And so I can give that class code to anybody, and those lessons are there. What I'm doing now is at the beginning of mine, and I go through with them how to use, just like I did with you guys today.
Right, but you see how yours had a code? That
Yeah.
last one just said JC something.
JCND.
But, and I might have it, but I wanted them to
You wanna give them the-
see
you
it,
wanna
but
see how
I
to
don't
get the
want
code.
them to end up in your class.
Okay,
I
so
want them to be in my class.
so you're gonna set up a class. You're gonna say, you're gonna take this and you wanna start a class with it. So I wanna say, go back to this slide. Classes. So I wanna set up a class here. So I'm gonna say, I'm gonna call it my practice class. Okay, then I'm gonna click other, because we are adults. And then I'm gonna create class, and it gives me the code for it.
Oh, that's,
And then
thank you.
Okay, so, and that's actually on that, the Blendspace, that one that is that I used today. I just kind of skipped into this instead of, it gives you those steps.
Okay, so I already have those steps. Well,
Yeah.
okay, thanks.
So, and then then you can set up your lessons, and as you're ready to share them, then you click on share, and whatever classes you have, you can decide which ones to share it with.
it even says.
It's even easier. I mean, I just click on this and it's.
Right, and it shares it, or
Yeah.
down below it
To
even says
everybody.
Google Classroom. So it makes it look like you could put it in two places.
Let's look at it.
Because when, right below, see how.
Oh, yeah, you can share it via all of these things too, that's right.
So if somebody says they're comfortable with Google Classroom.
Yeah, I have emailed this to my students.
Oh, that's good to know, so maybe we can copy that.
Yeah. So it's, I mean, it's so easy, I think, to use, you know, you can just, you can share it easily, you can, I am totally comfortable with, whereas on a Google shared, I want to be, you know, like my individual classes, I make sure that, you know, everybody's okay with having their emails
Right.
shared with each other. This, I just give them the class code. They are not connected to one another that way at all. So I can have my day classes, my night classes in there, it doesn't matter.
And they can't see anybody else's
Right.
work or progress
Right.
or anything like that,
Yeah.
Especially when
Yeah.
yeah.
And like I said, it's private unless you decide to make it. And obviously lessons that are shared with people, well, that still doesn't matter because no one's going to see each other. In there. And then the tracking part, so views. This is, you know, so I can see how many people been in there. But when they're in a lesson, that's when they can, well, you guys can see it. I can't see it as the teacher on there on this, but, oh, actually I can if I push play. The thumbs up, and then they can do that, and then they can make comments. So I can press I like it, or not a fan, or whatever. So, I like it.
Oh, they're making you say why?
So, well, so then there is a chance for them to say why, you can make a comment, and I try to get them to do that just so they can, so I can monitor. Other questions? Sign and join the class, start your own lessons, set up the class. So you also in this have the link to my mini grant, and that goes in detail. So if you, I mean, Blendspace is pretty easy to use, but I do have some screenshots in there. There's the part about the tracking. So it does go into detail how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I just got myself out of everything. Does everybody have any questions? I have to go back in because I'm logged in.
I guess we're done.
Yeah, with the murder investigation.
Okay, so are there questions? 'Cause we
When you
have-
do a quiz,
Mhm.
is it a separate thing, or could you do a survey? Like, I'm wondering, I was just thinking if sporadically you could do surveys within something like
So you can set it up. It gives you an option of open-ended questions or multiple choice, so it gives you a format to use. So yeah, you could do a survey. So it would come up. I think it would call it a quiz.
Or you can grab a Quizlet and put that in, right?
Absolutely. You can link anything in there. It's amazing.
Oh, I
So,
love this.
yeah, I do too. To me, I mean, I tried Schoolology for a while. I tried Edmodo. I thought this was the easiest by far, and I was thinking free. I was thinking easy for me and easy for my students. That was the yeah. So this is I've not had any of my students have a hard time using it.
Here's one other question with that. Were you able to grab, say, a lesson or something out of Play-Doh and insert that? Like one on just fractions or something?
I can, because there are parts of Plato that you can download, or print, and so I can take those. The offline ones, but also some of the assessments and things, you can download those and then you can upload them onto this. So, yeah, it's the other thing is that sometimes with like I said with the blogger, I'll say, go to the class blog, and I put the link there, and they just log in, with their Gmail or Google account. And I can do the same kinds of things with the Aztec. I can say, okay, now to Khan or to Aztec, I'll say go to Aztec and work on this lesson, or go to Khan Academy and work on this lesson. I'll put the link in there. They sign in, and then I can track their hours from that. So.
Have you ever scanned a document and uploaded it? I'm wondering about the quality.
I have not done that.
Depends on the quality of the scan.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
you would be able to do this easily in the iPad. Yes, the only thing that I don't see.
Can you insert an image within a text, like when you're in Word?
Yeah,
Saying?
so let me
Yeah, I
get
had to
back
go,
to
no, I had
Blendspace.
to go to.
Like otherwise I was creating all these
Regular
tiles
internet,
for the vocabulary word. I'd rather have it embedded in the Word document.
So, yes, so you can put a Word document right in there, and you embed it into your Word document
Yeah.
anyway. You know how to do that, right? You just put
I
a,
had to go through the
you know,
regular thing.
either a copy of the picture into there, or put a,
Or join a class,
box
just
put
using
in.
that.
So when you said regular.
Yeah.
So, and then you can upload that, so you go right here to the computer one,
Yeah, and then it was able to join.
and you just upload anything you have. So here's my Word document that I had. What was that? Oh yeah, the murder investigation. So I just
Oh, I see,
wherever
make
it
it
is
separately
my-
on Word. Yeah.
What's that?
Gotcha. I'm
Yeah.
okay, I got you now.
Yeah. So just like you just choose file, and you
Yeah.
can say wherever you want it to come from on your computer. And then, like I said, the lessons things that you've already uploaded or already saved on here, so you don't have to do it. That News ELA, so everybody use that too, that's great.
Yes.
So, so I'll give them the class, like on this I
Or
have
read
there.
theory, that's a
So
great one.
they have an instruction page where you can put your code in, so I have that on here, so let's just look and see, that's on one of my lessons. It gives them the directions, gives them the class code, just that they're signing in with.
But what is that?
That's on News ELA, it has how to join with a class code, and here's the class code, and then it walks them through it. So I just downloaded that, and I can upload it onto this, so it becomes then part of the lesson. So this was, has the things on it that I want them to look at, to compare. I think this was 2 different stories that I wanted to look at.
Another great one is read theory.
What's that?
Read theory, that's
Read
another
theory.
great one. Because that one, they'll read through lessons and answer them, and that's totally free. And at the end of it, once they've gone far enough, it gives them a grade level, reading ability, and a lifestyle score.
Oh.
And the more they keep practicing it, they'll get better and better, and
Nice.
then their score will improve. So I use that as something that they should be doing at home if you want to try to progress quicker from level to level.
Nice.
What's that called?
Read theory.
Read theory.
Just Google that, and then you just click on if you're a student or a teacher.
And so, since we're sharing sites, which I think is always a good thing, Smithsonian Teen or Tween, started as Tween and now they have Teen Tribune. Again, you can select the Lexile level that you want. It has quizzes with it. I again link that into this,
What is that, teen?
Tween Tribune or Teen
Oh,
Tribune. And so you join as a teacher, it's free, they have tons of different options, and I do get them, I did click the email thing for that, because I'll get, during the school year, it's Monday morning ready, they have a lesson that, relates to what's been going on during the weekend or on that previous week, so it's.
But you
current
have to put
topics.
in the lifestyle score?
So you choose which lifestyle. So you can then, if you've got students on different levels, you can give them the same article, but written at different levels. So,
Yeah, doesn't that news, ELA? I think
yes,
they
that
do
does the same
Yeah.
thing, yeah. So,
I just got
oh, yeah. So there's that, and then, what was the other one that I was going to tell you about? Oh, procon.org. That doesn't have the different lifestyle state, but our essays are evidence-based,
What is
and
that one?
it's procon.org. So this one has, it's got just all kinds of topics, and it has gives you the pros and the cons, gives a list, it gives you some background information, it gives you 2 essays, opposing essays, gives you the critical question, that they can use as an essay prompt. So it's just gives me tons of
Yeah, I like that.
and you can look at all different, science, social studies, different things. So we're at that point. So this is your name tags go in here. Your evaluation of this session goes in this one. And your overall evaluation goes in this one, overall the conference. So the one that's overall is orange. I don't know what color is the one for this one.
Blue.
Okay.
The workshop?
Okay. So I put my orange one in, so the one without is the I need to log out all my things.
And then Bridget, that's gonna store, like, how many lessons you will create, does it ever,
That and,
it's amazing.
yeah, I mean, they haven't said anything to me yet about, you're over.
Like, you need to pay up.
Yeah, it's like, Lino, the online bulletin board, linoit.com. I use that for organizing things too. I've got all these bulletin boards and I'm like, okay, when are they gonna tell me? And I finally got to a point where they're like, okay, that file's too big for whatever space, you can buy premium. But I've got it's just a cloud thing, like Evernote, but it's, so I have my pictures backed up there as well as backed up on Google, because, I use your pictures. I have, just all kinds
Yeah,
of stuff.
no, there's a whole number of them that I want to. Choose reasons why you came to this workshop. What if there's something on there I want to check off that's not?
Just write it on the
Yeah,
side.
yeah.
Just write it on the side what's not, doesn't other comments. Because Robin told me.
I feel like we're saving the earth too. I just do a lot of Xeroxing. I don't know about other
I
people,
know.
but I'm saving some trees.
Really?